And here we are in the final game of today's episode of King of the Hill, and it's the newly crowned Von Ivan, newly locking in Scavenge Doctrine. This guy comes with chaos, calamity, and destruction, and threatening him from the south.
Threatening him from the south is going to be a previous king trying to usurp what was once his own throne. It is going to be Paul. Interesting, Paul is playing with, I believe, Chinese characters. So, but we all know him as Paul or Paula. Just to let everyone know.
Paul.a.D indeed. He goes by many names. Helping Brits was once a name. He's had so many Smurfs in this game, and he's played so many, probably 10,000 hours, let's face it, that some might question, is he really human? And I can confirm, yes, he is. This game is on Crossroads. We've had a couple of community maps today, notably the one we just saw in Novograd, but this is straight back to tournament standard. The most played tournament map in the past couple of years. It's Crossroads. And the Universal Carrier, an omnipresent feature of today's competitive action.
Crossroads is a brilliant map. The width is just like perfect. You know, the size of the map I think is just right. You know, where it's not like so big that you just get flanks that are uncontainable, but at the same time, you know, it still ends up being like a kind of central fight. It's a beautiful map. Really
I actually like. It's an excellent point you've just made. The size of the map is perfect, and if you notice on the minimap, it's been tapered in just to make the battlefield area the exact right amount of area. I remember the KotH version of this, which was called Argentan Crossroads, was a little bit too large. It was a full big square and it had a lot more width to it. So just a little bit of the craft of map making there for you. Let's focus on the tactics on display here. Universal Carrier bossing the center, just now having the Kubelwagen capping up the western fuel for Von Ivan at a rate of a snail's pace.
I like the early game here because Von building the Kubel. What he's doing is just keeping his units in the center so that the Universal Carrier is distracted. It doesn't make sense to take the Universal Carrier so far away on the map on its own. So Von's had great capping in the early game. This is a dream capping order for OKW, I feel. The Brits just can't be aggressive enough, I think. I don't think they can really manage it.
No, it's just difficult to ask. Nice shoe mine being placed on the Northern Road Kubel. Against some cheeky shots in on the UC. KotH S3 E2 is threatening a cut-off push at the moment due to the Brits beginning to spread out slightly.
Enemy threatening a capture
As we all
point.
know, when the Brits spread out, it means they've got one less squad than OKW.
It's very interesting to see this. I mean, Von's easily going to be winning on capping here. In fact, he's going to be able to cap so many strategic points. It really won't matter if Paul decaps fuel on the left-hand side. That's the big issue. But letting the Volksgrenadiers get so far up the map and contesting and kind of stalling the Universal Carrier just makes the Kubel is just having a field day.
It is, it's having a cracking time. It may only have 2 kills, but it's done a lot of health damage. Note, by the way, that Paul's excellent game IQ. He had his Tommies lingering on that south house, just waiting for the possible push by Von Ivan for the cut-off. So that's why the game's a little bit stagnant. It's because there's posturing and protection and stuff you're not even seeing on your screen, just stuff happening elsewhere as Paul is waiting. And that's exactly an example of there. The Vickers was in perfect position.
Look at this retreat path flank from Von Ivan. He sees Paula capping on the left fuel, and Stern Pioneers try to get that high DPS close range damage away. Misses the opportunity on the negative cover, I feel, but nevertheless it's going to reconnect the fuel. And Von managed to get some really good mining down here.
He did. Shoe Mine City now for Paul. First one's about to ignite. No! God, they got very close. The Vickers is going to hit it instead, it seems. Nope. He's just going to be quiet for a while.
Stop casting.
No, you always tell me this. I can't. You keep inviting me back. Why? I'm an idiot, clearly.
This is going to be really difficult if this Tommy squad becomes low health. Actually, no, it's okay. It's tripped by the MG. Because my worry was that we might see a single model retreat back and trigger that.
Vickers
good play.
pushing the Stern Pioneers away there. Nice dodge of the incendiary grenade in the meantime from the Tommies. Paul is certainly fighting back, and if anybody can take down Von Ivan, as proven last week, it's Paul, but not when he's losing Tommies like he may be very soon. Oh, and he does it max range, sharpshooter from the Folks Grenadier there.
Really, really important shot. That's going to make things so difficult for Paul. Paul, by the way, has gone with the Special Weapons Regiment. We saw J for Jet using that in the last game, which is going to give him anti-tank infantry, which we're yet to see anything come out.
JLI's trying to gun down the Vickers on retreat, but that on-the-move accuracy isn't as powerful as one would like. Vickers escapes with a clean bill. Here comes the UC. Gotten 3 kills, seem to accumulate more.
This is dangerous for the universal carrier, I feel, because like infantry can still kind of surround it.
Yes! 2 of the models are on its rear armour, so it finally kills the one at the top part of your screen. Oh, that is dangerous from the UC. Here comes the Royal Engineers, just to protect its retreat, and they do that, but they block the Tommy's retreat.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm a fan of this. So, like, one of the models is holding a minesweeper, so there's only 3 models giving damage in that situation. And nevertheless, Von, really, really good pushing here. Von needs to be... sorry, not Von. Paul needs to be careful with these retreats. He doesn't want to have low amount of models retreating because Von's been so good on retreat path cuts.
A lot does lack realism in this game, but when you've got one Welshman standing there with a frying pan surveying the floor, whilst people are firing bullets past his head at a high rate for around a minute, you have to question the sanity of that Welshman.
If you know any Welsh
there definitely
people,
weren't any mines there. So.
Pretty standard.
Puma is going to be on the prowl for Von Ivan. This guy loves Pumas. Nice. Infiltration grenades well dodged by Paul, though no health damage even.
Enemy causing trouble, trying to take one of our points.
Oh, and he gets inside the fuel circle.
Good play. Von's lucky to get away with that Volks Grenadier. Now the question is, can these Jaeger-like infantry deal with the 2 squads that are contesting fuel? Von, of course, does have access to fuel already on the right-hand side of the map. But it's a fragile hold. I think actually he's got a lot of territories. He's got a very wide scope of the map. Very intelligent by Von here to actually go for the decap of the fuel to deny Paul capturing it. So good map play by Von, but it's very, very fragile. All of these squads are low health. They're not in great positions, and as soon as they retreat, it leaves a big gap
to be exploited. But it doesn't seem he wants to do that at the moment. He's just happy to slowly take hold of more territories. That is the British way of warfare, it seems. Puma gonna survey, prowl, disobey its reason to be on the battlefield, which is an anti-tank role. Gonna go in hunting infantry.
Actually does a very good job against the infantry. And of course it's good for it to just pick up little pockets of experience.
Minesweepers are currently enabling tank hunters to walk over and over that mine. Paul is gathering pace, everybody. It's also shown, by the way, in the kill-death ratio, 24 kills to 15 in Paul's favour. Just typical Von Ivan things.
Well, infantry isn't Von's game, really, is it? Vehicles is where Von has the prowess, so...
In a game that is 70... Go on, sorry.
Yeah, we might see some success from Paul here when it comes into infantry, but I think when Von starts to mass up the mechanized units, then there's going to be problems. By the way, MG in the centre, British machine gun about to go down to the Stern Pioneers.
And we've had a JLI pop as well, meaning it's definitely going to get picked up. Doesn't want to pick up with Stern Pioneers there, so he's going to sprint off like in a crab-like motion. Did you see that? Was that on your screen as well?
The sideways running?
Yeah, they did sideways running to the machine gun. Sorry guys, we've got to run sideways towards the machine gun.
Good steal, actually. And I think Paul is trying to wire off the house in case of the Jaeger light infantry, but hasn't quite finished wiring. Otherwise, that may have trapped the unit, which would have been fantastic to see.
It's a shame he didn't get that counter off, because he's now one machine gun less, and his opponent is a machine gun more, which is the worst kind of squad wipe. KotH stays alive. BG right now. It's going to be able to cap that point, and God, this is a very fair game. People in chat were complaining they wanted a better and fairer and more equal GG, and that's exactly what they're going to see in this one, because these two enemies have been fighting each other tooth and nail, blood and guts for years, and that is not an exaggeration. It is years these two guys have been fighting one another.
I actually really like the way that they play as well, because it's kind of fair. You know, they both actually seem to be getting the same opportunities as each other. You know, they both pick up the early squad, for instance. The game is just it goes into each stage so well. We clearly move into the mid game. We clearly move into a late game. There's no there's kind of no domination, as it were.
It's exactly right. It's very much two players that have the counters for one another and know each other very well. And you know, you can use many sporting anecdotes, and one might say that Von Ivan on average has been the more powerful player, but against Paul, he's one and truly an equal. And it always gives you a good game because of that. Because here comes the Puma. Universal Carrier's got to be careful.
Ooh, he tried to take the shot. He could pursue. There is, of course, Tommy's with the Boyd anti-tank rifles waiting to deal with that Puma. So good decision by Von not to overextend that play. Universal Carrier Vet 3 survives and is able to fight on a little longer. Von has had such good... and we know this about Von. Von is a resource player. He loves going for resources. Much less care is given to VPs. And you just see it in the way that he plays. He is so forceful to take the fuel.
And it does seem to be futile right now, because it doesn't seem to be fuel that's granting him these victories. It was the excellent infantry play, which is rare for Von Ivan. It's certainly working out well for him.
SWS for Von, so tier 4 Panzerschwer I think is the clear choice that's going to be.
KotH pushing the Tommies out of cover, by the way. Note that, allowing the Stern Pioneers better positioning to punish them. Good use of the KotH there by Von Ivan. So he now has double fuel, left and right, captured simultaneously, and that's going to give him a high income. I wonder what he's going to do with it. Yeah, has the mechanized regimental headquarters, of course, hence the Puma. But he has more than enough to get the Schwer now and push himself on into getting a Panzer IV, perhaps. Certainly has options.
Interesting, the positioning for the Schwer here. So he's going to put it a lot further than I think I normally see the Panzer Schwer. Instead of covering the strategic decap, he's going to cover the fuel, I think.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. He's going to have to now put his units more on the west side of the map than the east, just to protect the Schwer. If it comes into any danger, should Heupel get, for example, the Firefly. Doesn't have a 6-pounder even at the moment, so it should be safe for now, and he'll just be able to protect his fuel and victory. And that's why he's had to amass those infantry squads. He doesn't want Paul to even know that's where the Schwer is coming up. He wants it to be a surprise.
Yeah, nice decision to just sit at the front, make sure it doesn't get seen. And Von's defending it, of course, like for that purpose, which is really good. It's going to be complete by the time that the SAP squad, I think, gets onto the fuel point. But you know, one thing I'll say is that the decision from infiltration grenades wipe a British machine gun in the center, and given that these Tommies are only holding anti-tank rifles, there's absolutely no contest to defend it. Paul perhaps giving away a really important unit. What I was just going to say is that the fact that Paul hasn't gone for AT, you know, and is relying on the infantry means, of course, his anti-infantry capabilities are terrible.
So Paul's now built 3 Vickers this game, and Von Ivan has 2 of them. That's really bad.
Paul, he's
Vic has
all
cost
part of the plan.
216 manpower, so that's 520 he's given to Von Ivan.
all part of the plan, I'm sure.
It's like investing in Bitcoin. It may turn real money into worthless cryptocurrency, but it's all part of the plan, and I'm sure he'll become a multi-millionaire in no time. Oh, Puma with some good shots, and the machine gun finishes the job. It's going downhill very quickly indeed for Paul.
Our troops are ready to dig in with air support.
Yeah, I've not been stunned by the teching decisions that Paul's made in this game. I don't really feel like the anti-tank infantry should be the counter to the light vehicles. Because of course OKW, just especially with the Jaeger light infantry, you're going to easily outmass in infantry. As the game goes on, you can just see there's a huge mismatch in army size because of this.
I think Paul should have certainly finished off wiring that Jaeger light infantry entrance, for one. He would have kept one of his machine guns. He shouldn't have tried to push both sides of the map, for another. We've seen great successes as allies over the GCS2, for example, in just occupying the southeast side of Crossroads. It might not be exciting, but it's slow and steady gameplay, and it does the trick. And that's how he won last week, if you remember. It's slow and steady. Saying that, Dan, I remember 16 minutes into that game last week, we were saying Von Ivan's clearly won. And little did we know, Paul had tricks up his sleeve. So let's just wait and see.
It is the same scenario, actually, where Paul held back for ages until he got the crocodile. We're seeing the similar in fuel stacking here. It doesn't really matter what happens to Paul in terms of resources, as long as he keeps the VPs. He's trickling up to 230 now, and all he has to do is just hit the CPs up by playing, playing his engagements, and he's got a very powerful unit there. So, he's just under 400 VPs, still loads of time, nothing to worry about.
No, and all he has to worry about really is battlefield presence, victory points being triple capped. It's going to be very difficult for him to get back onto his territory should he lose them, thanks to the double vicars of Von Ivan, the OKW player.
Big hits from the British 6-pounder AT gun. And that's difficult because, of course, the right side of this map has elevation. We always see on this area of the map that when vehicles play there, when support weapons play there, shots always tend to fall into the hill.
Oh! And Focus Grenadiers, classic Von Ivan preservation here. Will he survive? Luckily he will.
I don't think he deserved that, to be honest. Late retreat. Paul's going to be unhappy with that.
Grenade there, not doing much at all. Paul's behind the Casbah, and he's rocking it at the moment against JLIs who are behind a sandbag.
I think Von's so far ahead of this. Panther's going to be out well in time for the crocodile. It'll have a bit of a window, but nothing really to play against. Except the infantry.
Who is Ricardo? When they say, "Oi, Ricardo's army, fall in!" Who's Ricardo? I don't get it. Are they saying something other than Ricardo? Help me out, chat, please. But that's what they say, right? It sounds like, "Oi, Ricardo's army, fall in!"
I have heard it before, yeah, and I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, Fred Carno. Fred Carno was a comedian from the time, so they're saying you're jokers, basically. That is awesome. Thank you, Twisted Tootsie. Oh, and then Trick is saying Ricardo Milos, so I've got two conflicting. Oh, we've got a base inspection from the Panther in base. Nice heat grenade from the Royal Engineers. Get the suppression, but it was all the arrow for the shaft. That is the Kubel that's going to sweep in and finish the job.
This is the exact game we saw last week. Actually, I think Von, probably Von's learned, and I see Von being really aggressive here, and he needs to be because he just can't let that crocodile come out. He needs to close the game out before then. It was a huge problem for him last week. And he definitely doesn't want to have the same thing happen twice. But Paul.A, you can see the build coming in. He's got the machine gun, he's got 2 AT guns, which are making their way over to the right-hand side. It's going to be a counter to what Von has. I think Von won't be able to push for much longer.
There we go. Looks like Paul is trying to reposition yet again in the east, but Von Ivan has half of his forces there waiting for him, and not looking too good. He does have 2 6-pounders though, which is the mark of a player that is going to try and eke out a victory on the south of Crossroads. Certainly it'll help him along his way. And notably, that will nullify the Panther, who is an anti-tank specialist. But it must be noted, Dan, it looks like the Panther is poised to attack in the southwest through the base entrance. There are no mines there. All he needs to do is take out the bunker, and he has a clear path.
Is that something that he's really gearing up for? It may be.
Looks like it. Certainly does.
This
Honestly,
is an
it
unfortunate
does.
setup of this machine gun. Infiltration grenades go in. Only wipe the one model, but it allows the Volksgrenadiers to flank an immediate retreat by the MG, and that MG should not be at the front lines. Loses the squad, but we are close to the Crocodile now.
We are. I believe Von Ivan was waiting for a retreat there. He was trying to push one with the forces he had, and he wasn't able to get it thanks to some excellent battling by Paul. Booby trap united. So yeah, the tanks have had to swoop in instead from a westerly direction. Oh, and they're attacking the Casbah!
Yeah, really don't like the look of that barn.
Those bastards. 6-pounders who drink regularly there. Very upset by this.
They're just getting the barn, nothing else.
That's their local. That's where they go.
The Panther's taking a lot of damage here, giving an unnecessary vet to the AT. Wait,
What the hell is Von Ivan
what is
doing?
Von doing? Oh no!
Oh my lord! They found the cusp of the building! They swerve that shot and take out the Panther! In true Von Ivan style, where was his preservation when he needed it most? Because here comes the crocodile!
Oh, Von, seriously? That was poor. That was really poor. And he can get another Panther. He's going to go for the Jagdpanzer. No, he switched it again now for the Panther, but that was so unnecessary. Oh my word. Didn't this happen last week as well?
No, that wasn't his fault in fairness. It did a 180 on a tree by accident. It was like a pirouette thing. He claimed anyway, and people saw it in the cast, but
Is that what he's going
this
to claim happened
clearly
then?
was horrendous miss micro, you know. That was... What was he doing? What was he even aiming for? I don't get it.
I don't know. It took about 10 shots on this little shack here, which still has full health. And
Caspar OP.
yeah, by the way, Croc is very sensibly going for the tier 4 on the left-hand side here. Really like this choice, and AT guns are there as well. They're going to be helping take this down quickly. The Puma needs to be careful if it does decide to pursue the Croc because of those AT guns. So this is a really nice play from
Oh, it's
Paul.
race against time, bars. Will the Panther be finished? Will the Panther be finished? No, it won't! He couldn't get the Panther out in time.
Wow. Wow, denies the tech.
Oof.
And Von's actually forced to rebuild the SWS.
Tiger. He's gonna have to get maybe Rakettenwerfers out, King Tiger, something like that. Oh my lord!
By the way, what a great move by Paul.A, do you know what I mean? Just to make sure that he got the tech. Have to point out plays like that. As great as they are, he knew that was what he needed to do.
Yep. Puma is stunning the Churchill Crocodile, but it's just been hit by the 6-pounder at max range. Oh, and the Crocodile gets a good shot in for measure.
Wow. It's one of those games where you just think, really? Really did this have to turn out this way? It was a sure victory for Von. In classic Von style, we are now looking at a 126 to 436 VP comeback from Paul. And who said King of the Hill was not showing interesting matches? That's not true at all. I think these two are going to have a lot of great games this season.
Yeah, we're already getting into the Von Ivan and Paul show, aren't we? Well, who was it for the last 2 years? Whenever it wasn't GCS2, it was always Nagano and Von Ivan, wasn't it? Just playing constantly. In every tournament or every show. Remember, like, Factional Showdown, every single final was Nagano and Von Ivan. Every single one.
It's a nice thing with that incendiary grenade, getting the Tommies out of the house. Of course, Von just trying to make use of his infantry advantage. He's also going for that cut-off on the retreat path, whilst getting some good capping going. Get the sense that Paul is just trying to hold this area whilst he repairs the croc. He's got loads of time on his hands and he knows it.
He does indeed. We got Brenz on the Tommies here trying to defend the cut-off. Von Ivan again feeling like he needs to do something to really push Paul back. He's on the assault in the centre, but the Churchill Crocodile will meet that assault with a furious vengeance. Push it back in no time at all. 100 victory points remaining for Paul. He's going to have to keep a Focus Grenadier in the circle. He's going to be tempted to anyway. Oh, but he does that! And it was the wrong decision! It was the very wrong decision. Temptation led to obliteration there.
Oh no. I mean, that was unfortunate. That was a lot of splash damage. But wow. And I think Von actually just caught one of his own infiltration grenades there as he threw it and tried to retreat. Von is losing territory at an alarming rate. Paul is also very well capping the right-hand side now. Crocodile has split from the assault, dead through the center, and is just trying to clear up everything it can to hold Von up in his base.
Look at what has just entered the battlefield. It's a behemoth, it's the Königstiger, the Bengal Tiger, the Tiger 2. It's 68.5 tons of quantified destruction, and it's going to be the saviour of Von Ivan's army, because as Focus Grenadiers bite the dust, the King Tiger is going to meet its foe with a furious vengeance and fierce anger, or at least that's what Von Ivan would like to have.
Well, we've seen this battle before in episode 1 of King of the Hill, and it didn't work out too well for Von, so hopefully we see a little more, what's the word I'm trying to think of, not skill, but maybe better decision making, a bit more support for the King Tiger than we saw in its previous arrival in the tournament.
Didn't we see Paul with excellent bait in game in that game last week?
Very much so.
Ooh, Stone Pioneer is being destroyed. Doesn't need this to happen. He needs those repairs on the battlefield. They need to survive.
I'm pretty sure, despite being on fire, still managed to survive that. No, I'm
Look at these devilish Axis demons running through artillery and fire and flames and blood, guts and glory. Here comes the Puma, the King Tiger in tow. The Focus Grenadiers know no fear. 1 6-pounder down. King Tiger marches on. Puma's got the rear armor shots in. Here they come. Oh! Main gun destroyed. This could be big. Will the King Tiger be able to traverse his turret in time? We've had a big Faust go in. King Tiger obliterates the 6-pounder. Puma finishes off the Churchill. Von Ivan's back in the game.
What a beautiful push there. You couldn't have had a better run with the King Tiger. Puma was essential into making that happen. Can the King Tiger help out in this situation? Does not keep the Puma alive. And Paul, you saw him there dropping the concentrated fire to just try and get a lucky shot off on the Volksgrenadiers, but it did not happen.
Volksgrenadiers possibly dying here. Yep. This is Von Ivan in a nutshell. This is Von Ivan. Amazing at these crazy pushes. Terrible at playing competitive KotH 2. Somehow he wins tournaments though. He's just the antithesis of what makes a great player, and that's what makes him so great.
Yeah, he's got such great capability, but some of the decision making is damn right odd.
He just tried, damn it. He tries to work on preservation. He has streams called Working on Preservation. But at his heart, he's a chaos player. He's all about the chaos.
Just watching this AT gun support crew deal with the MG support crew. Just totally weird AI battle going on there.
Oh! JLI's decrew the 6-pounder. The King Tiger might reposition and try and take it out, perhaps.
Well, you know, Paul is still getting resources in, so he may be able to bring out another croc, but only 60 VPs left. The chances are running slim. One thing he does have to his advantage, though, I think, is that the King Tiger is very slow, and Von's preservation has been terrible. Von is losing a lot of capping potential. Paul has the chance to cap a lot here and avoid the King Tiger.
I've seen some good analogies for Von Ivan in chat, and you're all right. That's exactly what he does. He kind of burns out all of his mana in one move and recharges all of his abilities for the next push. He's very much playing a different meta to most players, it seems. Nobody fully understands it either. He's countered Love Nest, for example, plenty of times. One of the most technically astute players in all game's existence. Oh, here come the 6-pounders. King Tiger in peril. They're boys anti-tank rifles as well. We've just had, that's right, combat blitz enabled. King Tiger's increased its speed to 5 miles an hour temporarily.
Yeah, look, Von has 420 VPs left. He has more than enough time to sit back, get everything repaired, work his way up the field again. And what we don't want to see is him push too early and ruin, like, kind of what's left of his army. But he's actually going to go for the flak half-track, which will, I guess, be helping him deal with any of the infantry running around the King Tiger.
Not sure about that, dude.
It's a weird one, but I think that maybe it's going to help him hold VP. With 2 AT guns, this is very unlikely. I'm not 100% sure what's going on here.
Well, we know he doesn't have the Schwer, so he can't build the Ostwind or the Panzer IV or the Jagdpanzer. So maybe this is just the best of what he has available to him. Then again, he does have 160 fuel, so... Oh! Machine gun, by the way, gets a kill on the west side. But, yeah, it's a little bit of a strange one, I have to say. Because as soon as Paul has a tank out again, that's thing's going to be toast, right?
You would think so, but...
Yeah,
I'm not
we're
sure.
puzzled by that.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I mean, at its location at the moment, it seems to have replaced what Tier 4 was doing. So kind of like a cheaper alternative to that.
Yeah, like the Primarch alternative.
Yeah, absolutely. But maybe he's just going to focus on a bit of more of a lighter build now. Go for some Lukes added in with that area defense.
King Tiger with its 19 kills, and Veteran C1 is ready for battle once more. Varibu's Wet Dream. And an economist's nightmare.
I'm interested as to why the King Tiger is on the right. Like, maybe Von is trying to bait a lot of Paul's units here so he can focus on the VPs, but actually I think that King Tiger is very needed in the center. Here comes the 105mm howitzer barrage.
Oh, Paul hasn't moved. What's he doing? He's staying
sure.
still. He's in the barrage. Here it comes. Sport weapons are getting obliterated. How can he not have seen that? We've had a full destruction of a 6-pounder. King Tiger watches on. JLI survey the battlefield. Von could really push now and finish a lot of these units off.
Yeah, that was no movement by Paul at all at a crucial moment in the game. He's trying to deal with this King Tiger. AT's just been wiped out, and he's coming up to the Crocodile, but he just does not have the VP time in order to play it. I think that Von has managed to close this game.
He has, thanks to his opponent not moving.
Checkmate.
We've got them again, boys. Those pygmies didn't even move when the machine gun hit them. For the British Empire. Made no sense. I know that reference. Plenty of ones we could have used. Oh, and Paul has thrown in the towel. He saw the writing on the wall.
Yep, and there we go. Von with his second kingship win. Well, that was a slow game. Nevertheless, a good game, a good kind of like stable game to cast on
I
Crossroads.
loved it. It had some great moments, some crazy pushes from Von Ivan, for example.
Yeah, I think everyone loves to see the King Tiger used. But it was a very, very fragile match, and I think Von can't really take away that he won that easily.
For people that didn't see them in chat there were some comments from the players. Paul has said, I can't move due to no VPs. Fair enough. It's the last call. Not a good day for me. So pretty gallant words there. The writing was on the wall. And then Von Ivan's just said, no trees this time.
By the way, LGM508 says, so does Von get the money from his win last week now, or was that lost when Paul beat him last time? So it's accumulation only. If you lose the king position, you don't get like paid back, if that makes sense. So every game kind of equals at the moment £10, but you have to win 2 to get your any money at all, basically. So yeah, like Von isn't going to get back paid.
He gets $20 for winning 2 games today, right?
Yes.
£20.
Yeah. So as soon as he hits that second win, then he gets the payout from game 1 and 2, and then every single game after that is a payout.
Yeah, understood. I think that just stops if we just have players trading hands and like the game is horrifically unbalanced, like every player wins, then Stormless will have no money left to pay people. So it kind of makes sense.
Well, like I say, like we're possibly at a point where we're just going to up the prize pool to like £20 a game. I think we're nearing the threshold for that, and also just analysing the current payouts to see what the situation is. So for anyone that has been donating to keep the prize pool high, like thank you very much. It's really appreciated to keep the event and make it like more desirable to be competitive. Like we want these players to play for something, and for them to put like their hearts into the game. So it's really good of you guys. But AE, 5 games episode again.
Yeah, good stuff.
It's
Very enjoyable.
Good.
And we'll see you all next week, I guess. Same time next week, 4 p.m. GMT. And let the games continue. 8 more episodes left, so 8 more weeks of this. We may have a couple of breaks here and there. We discussed Stormless, like just a week off, perhaps.
Yeah, I think we're going to break occasionally. I know that we're probably going to break now for the seasonal map cup. The next time that runs, I think we're going to postpone one King of the Hill episode. And for anyone that doesn't know, next week on episode 3, we are increasing the community maps in the map pool. And we're going to be doing a revision on some of the allowed commanders in the tournament. So there's going to be some interesting things. But yeah, make sure you guys are here from 4 p.m. GMT. Like we start at the same time every week. So if you're upset that you've come in a little bit late today, then join a little bit earlier. There's loads of good games to join in on.
Also on revisions, I've been doing some research on ghost sandbagging and such, and it definitely is fixable. We just need Relic to fix it once and for all. So if King of the Hill can put pressure on Relic to do so in a pleasant, friendly way by just giving them evidence of why it's so crap, that'd be good. So I don't mind it being allowed. That's because now I've researched it, I can definitely form that opinion.
Cool. Anything else to say before we sign off?
Nope, absolutely not. And see you next week, guys.
All right. See you next week, guys.